Hello again, I am Blunty. Ooh, my voice is a bit raw this morning. Went out last night, one of those little industry media event things about the Intel 10th Gen launch, their new suite of tasty CPUs for laptops and such. It's pretty good. Good peeps, good drinks. They had blue drinks because Intel, and that's their brand color. They were delicious. Blue Curacao, gin, vodka. I had literally like 14 of them. But yeah, had a pretty good time. Actually, had an opportunity to test out the night mode on the new iPhone for the first time in a real world setting. I mean, I've tested it in a dark room here at in the lair and stuff, but this is the first time out in the real world taking shots I would have taken or tried to take with a regular camera, but it would have been too dark and it would have been awful. It was actually quite impressive. My fellow Aussie tech tuber Brian from Tech Yes City had some sort of existential crisis. Actually, he's all right. I don't know why he chose to pose for that photo that way. We were testing out the night mode again in a pub, in a really dark pub. He just pulled that face. I was like, "You okay? You all right, mate? Need another drink?" But also, and the subject of this video, beyond all the ramble, is I got first eyes on with ASUS new dual screen laptop. Now, dual screen laptops are nothing particularly new. We've seen a few models with little screens built into where the touchpad is and all that sort of stuff, and that's kind of neat. It demos really well, but usefulness, I've always been a bit doubtful on it. I mean, you can put some shortcuts there, and but you know, sort of doing dual duty between actually being a pointer device, which you're using constantly, and being a tappy device, which you're not using. That I don't know. I haven't tried one. I don't know how well they work in the real world, but I've never been that sold on them outside of, hey, they look pretty cool. And about a year ago, when the support for properly dual screen stuff was being fed into Windows, I was speaking to brands, sort of off the records and stuff behind the scenes, and they were saying, well, Windows is doing the thing where they're going to just put dual screens in the thing and just get supported natively. It's really easy. What kind of screen should we put in? Where should we put it? What are you going to do with it? How big should it be? All that kind of stuff. And they were going to do sort of a MacBook style thing with a really thin strip up the top. And I was like, nah, it's not that useful. Nobody really likes that. I've got one on my Mac. I never use the damn thing. Make it bigger so we can actually use it as a useful screen and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's kind of what ASUS wound up doing, the kind of things I was suggesting this other brand should do. The laptop itself is one of their sort of lovely flagship ones. So it's got the best of Intel grunting away in there. It's got the best of, NVIDIA's RTX grunting away in there. It's relatively thin and light for a powerful machine like that. So it should be pretty portable. Although with all that power and the dual screens and everything, it's not going to have spectacular battery life. It's just more one of those desktop replacement ones where you always make sure you take your power with you. But for a productivity machine to go from place to place, I'm really excited about the possibilities that dual screen brings. So as soon as I saw this thing announced and when I was playing with it last night, all I could think about was using that second screen for video editing. I could have my editing timeline or my media bin down the bottom, or anything else off the main screen, so I can have more of that main screen. And it's a 4K OLED screen, by the way. It's spectacular, but more of that main screen devoted to actually showing me the video that I'm editing. And less of the guff and interface down on the bottom screen. One of my other first instincts was, of course, using this as a mobile portable streaming rig, because if you game stream, you can have your actual game full screen. And I used to stream off a gaming laptop, and I would have the game in a window and OBS and all that sort of stuff off to the side. It was a very cluttered desktop, but it worked. With this, you could have your game full screen, or even just have the game in a window still and put the chat next to it so you can glance over to the chat real easy, but everything else down on that little bottom screen. OBS and all your alerts and all the bits and pieces and that kind of ancillary stuff you use when you're streaming sometimes, just all on the bottom screen, out of the way. You can just look down when you need it. Sounds fantastic. Then I thought about some uses that aren't involved, outside of creator stuff. And I'm thinking, well, you could be playing a game on that lovely 4K main screen again, and you could be watching stuff on the secondary screen. So you could be watching a guide if you're achievement hunting, or you're trying to get through a particularly tough part of a game, or trying to solve a puzzle. You gave up and you just watched a playthrough on YouTube. Oh, that's how you solve it. Fine. I'll follow it step by step. Or, I mean, I do this all the time. On the evenings, I like to wind down playing a bit of Dauntless. That's just went 1.0, by the way. If you haven't tried it out yet, you should. Free to play. It's really nice, really fun, multi-platform, all that kind of stuff. But, most nights I chill out to an hour or two of Dauntless, and I'm usually watching Netflix on the second screen. Here at the desk, I've got two screens. But being able to do that sort of in a self-contained laptop when I'm traveling on the road or something, that seems like a fun idea as well. Just being able to have a little Netflix screen down the bottom there, just, watching some stuff. I mean, nothing you'd be concentrating on, just some old Star Trek you've seen dozens of times already, just to have something there while you're playing a game. It's kind of chill. I love doing it. But those are kind of the things that sprang to mind. And I was sitting here this morning thinking about it again. I'm thinking, what else would you do with it? So I decided to make this video and literally ask you guys, what uses would you have for a laptop with a built-in secondary screen? And it's not a standard 16:9 screen. It's sort of long and thin, ultra wide screen kind of thing. So you can sit several windows there, or one big long wide window and things like that. What kind of uses would you have for it? What do you do with your computer when you're multitasking? What would that screen be useful to you for? But what do you want? Are you interested in this kind of stuff? Because we're going to see it more and more, I feel like. Because again, the support for it is built into Windows, or is being built into Windows. So it's easy to implement. It's standardized, basically. So I feel like more and more manufacturers, in an attempt to stand out, are going to be experimenting with this a little bit. But yeah, in general, I like the laptop. I'm not sure I like the keyboard so far forward. I mean, it kind of has to be, because that's the way the design works, because I like to have a palm rest when I'm typing on a laptop. But then again, you're using it on a desk anyway. I'll also like the touchpad off to the side. Not so much for lefties. If you're a lefty, you're a bit out of luck. But if you're right-handed, like, I forget the percentage. Most of us are right-handed, right? Having that touchpad over by the side is a much more comfortable way to use it. But yeah, just wanted to leave the door open on a video and sort of have some talk about, what the hell would you use this for? What is it for? What would you use it for? Why? How? When? How often? Keep it clean.